right, everyone, get ready, because today we are going deep, deep, deep into the world of MrBeast.
MrBeast.
AKA Jimmy Donaldson.
Right.
Now, you've probably seen his videos popping up everywhere online.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy stunts, wild giveaways.
I've seen a few.
But we're going to go way beyond the clickbait headlines today.
Okay.
We're going to try to uncover the real story of this YouTube phenomenon.
Sounds good.
And we're going to be using 2 books to help us today.
Oh, okay.
The first one is MrBeast, The Life of YouTube Phenomenon. And the second is MrBeast, The Relentless Grind of Success.
Catchy titles.
So what's so fascinating to me is that we often see these YouTubers as like one-dimensional.
Right.
Especially someone like MrBeast.
Mm-hmm.
But when you actually look deeper into their backstories and their motivations and where they came from, it gets a lot more complex.
It really does.
And what's interesting is that MrBeast isn't even from like LA or some typical YouTube hub.
I mean, you think of all these creators being from LA.
He was born in Wichita, Kansas.
Wow.
And grew up mainly in Greenville, North Carolina.
So not the typical path.
Yeah, not exactly where you'd expect a global internet sensation to come from, right?
Not at all.
And what's so interesting about him is that even as a teenager, Donaldson was like obsessed with the YouTube algorithm.
Really?
He was studying how to go viral like a scientist in a lab.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and his early content shows this like his worst intros series.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, it's really funny. He's basically just making fun of bad YouTube intros.
Okay.
But you can tell he's already thinking about how to grab people's attention and keep them hooked.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, he wasn't just like throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Right.
He was deliberately trying to figure out the system.
Interesting.
And it's like, I guess that makes his later success less surprising.
Right.
But it's still incredibly impressive how he managed to do it.
It really is.
So, you know, in 2017, he posted this video where he counted to 100,000.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
I mean, who does that?
It's insane.
But millions of people watched, and that's when things really started to blow up for him.
Right.
What followed was this really interesting shift.
Okay.
He started doing these large-scale stunts and giveaways.
Right.
And kind of solidified this image as like the YouTube philanthropist.
Yeah, YouTube philanthropist. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it's this really unique blend of entertainment and generosity that seems to really resonate with people.
I mean, it's definitely working for him.
But it also makes you think, right?
About?
Like, was it purely altruistic? Or was it a carefully calculated brand strategy?
Yeah, you have to wonder.
Because you can't deny that all this philanthropy has amplified his fame and reach even more.
It's definitely given him a lot of exposure.
And it's interesting because on the one hand, you have these genuinely good deeds, like planting 20 million trees.
Wow.
And cleaning up millions of pounds of trash from the ocean.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's undeniably positive. But then you also have this criticism that it's all part of his brand.
Right.
Like, is he really just trying to make more money while appearing charitable?
It's hard to know for sure.
And this is a theme that we see popping up again and again in MrBeast's world.
Oh, really?
This tension between authentic altruism and calculated self-interest.
Interesting.
And that's something that we're going to delve deeper into a little bit later.
Okay.
But beyond the stunts and the philanthropy, MrBeast has also built this pretty impressive business empire.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's start with MrBeast Burger.
Okay.
Believe it or not, this thing has over 2,000 locations worldwide.
2,000.
That's insane.
That's crazy.
It's like this huge virtual restaurant empire.
Oh, wow.
He partnered with this company called Virtual Dining Concepts.
I've heard of them.
Yeah. And they basically leverage existing kitchen spaces in other restaurants.
So it's like a ghost kitchen kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly, which allowed them to expand really quickly.
That makes sense.
But this model isn't without its challenges.
What kind of challenges?
Well, there's actually an ongoing lawsuit between MrBeast and Virtual Dining Concepts.
Really?
That highlights the difficulties of trying to maintain quality control.
Right.
And brand consistency.
Yeah.
When you're growing that fast.
Yeah. It's like trying to build a skyscraper overnight.
Yeah, exactly.
The foundation might not be strong enough.
Right. And speaking of MrBeast's businesses, there's also Feastables, his chocolate brand.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those.
And that one seems to be doing incredibly well.
They are.
They've made millions in revenue.
Wow.
And their whole chocolate factory competition was Genius.
I saw that it was like a real-life Willy Wonka thing.
Yeah, exactly. It was
Yeah.
playing out on YouTube, generating tons of buzz.
That's a great idea.
They've even recently rebranded Feastables,
Oh, wow.
which suggests they're really focused on growth and innovation.
For sure.
So he's not just this one-trick pony,
Right.
He's got this entrepreneurial spirit that goes way beyond making viral videos.
It's impressive.
Now, he's also tried some other ventures that haven't been as successful.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like Lunchly.
I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, it was his partnership with KSI and Logan Paul.
Oh, interesting.
And that one seems to have hit some snags.
Like what?
Well, there were issues with things like mold in the products
Oh, no.
and some questionable marketing tactics,
Uh-oh.
which led to some pretty harsh criticism.
Yikes.
It seems like expanding his brand into new areas, especially with partners who maybe have their own baggage, can be risky.
Yeah, for sure.
And it makes you wonder if he even has the bandwidth to manage all these different projects
Right.
and still maintain that quality and the integrity of his brand.
That's a lot to juggle.
It really is, especially when you consider he's also invested in things like Backbone and juice funds.
Wow, he's got his hands in a lot of different pots.
He does. It seems like he's trying to build something that lasts beyond just his YouTube persona.
It's smart to diversify.
It is. It suggests a level of business savvy that I think a lot of people overlook.
I-
So we've got this image of MrBeast as this viral genius,
Mm-hmm.
a philanthropist,
Right.
a shrewd businessman.
Yeah.
But we can't ignore the controversies that have come up in recent years.
I was wondering when we were going to get to that.
Yeah, there's definitely a darker side of this story that we need to unpack.
Okay.
And that's what we're going to get into after the break. So get ready, because things are about to get a lot more complicated.
I'm intrigued.
Okay, so we've talked about all the success and the philanthropy and the business ventures,
Right.
but I think it's time to address kind of the elephant in the room.
The controversies.
The controversies, yeah.
There have been a lot of those.
There have been a lot, and I think maybe a good place to start is with these accusations
Okay.
from some of his former employees
Mm-hmm.
about kind of a toxic work environment.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah, claims of like verbal abuse,
Really?
unrealistic demands, just really intense pressure to perform.
Wow.
Now, it is important to note that Donaldson has denied these claims,
Okay.
but it's definitely, cast a shadow on his public image.
Yeah, it's hard to hear that and then think of him the same way.
It is. It's hard to reconcile that image of the like fun-loving, generous guy
Right.
with those kinds of accusations.
Yeah. It almost feels like there are two different Mr. Beasts.
It does, and I think this is something important to remember.
That's that.
There are always two sides to every story.
That's true.
Like, couldn't you argue that some of these claims are maybe being blown out of proportion
Maybe.
or taken out of context?
It's possible. I mean, think about the pressure of creating content at that level.
Right.
With such a huge audience. It could definitely create a more demanding work environment.
For sure. And regardless of like the specific details,
Mm-hmm.
I think these allegations bring up some important questions
Like what?
about the ethics of content creation
Yeah.
and the responsibility that comes with having so much influence.
Especially over young people.
Exactly. And speaking of responsibility, how do we even begin to make sense of this whole Ava Chris Tyson situation?
Oh, yeah, that one was complicated.
It's complicated to say the least.
Yeah, just to kind of recap for everyone,
Please.
Tyson was a longtime member of the MrBeast crew,
Right,
and she was accused of sexual misconduct with minors,
right.
which led to her being removed from the brand.
Yeah.
But she actually denied the allegations
Right,
and claimed that they were based on jokes that were taken out of context.
right.
And then later, an independent investigation actually found those claims to be baseless.
Wow.
So it really shows you how, in the age of social media, accusations can spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to separate fact from fiction sometimes.
It seems like everyone was so quick to judge,
They were.
and it just got really messy before all the facts were even in.
Yeah. It's scary how quickly reputations can be tarnished online.
It really is. It makes you think about the dangers of cancel culture.
Absolutely.
And, on top of all that,
Yeah.
there are other controversies too,
Oh, right. Like,
like the Dogpack 404 allegations.
I don't think I know about that one.
This one was pretty serious.
Okay.
It involved accusations of rigged contests,
Oh, wow.
faked videos,
Yeah.
and even hiring a registered sex offender.
That's awful.
It is. And these are claims that really kind of strike at the core of his authenticity
Right.
and make you wonder about the ethics of his business practices.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard to imagine that someone who built this reputation on generosity and fairness
Right.
would engage in that kind of behavior.
It doesn't really add up.
It really doesn't. But if these allegations are true,
Yeah.
then it paints a much darker picture of MrBeast and what his motivations really are. It's a reminder that the line between entertainment and exploitation can be really thin.
Especially online.
Especially online where everything is driven by views and clicks.
Right.
And this constant pursuit of viral fame.
It's a whole different world.
It is, but let's not forget, MrBeast is also a person with his own beliefs and struggles and complexities.
Of course.
We focused a lot on the public persona.
Yeah.
But what about the man behind the camera?
Right. What about Jimmy Donaldson?
Yeah, what makes him tick?
Well, for one, he's not the devout Christian he used to be.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He identifies as an agnostic theist now.
That's interesting.
Which is kind of an interesting evolution considering his upbringing in the Bible Belt.
Right.
It suggests a willingness to, question things.
Yeah.
And evolve his beliefs over time.
And I think that's something we can all relate to, right?
Sure, sure.
Like we're all constantly learning and growing and changing.
Yeah.
But then there's also this question of his political ambitions.
Oh, yeah. What's going on with that?
Well, he said he's apolitical.
Okay.
But then he made that comment about maybe running for president in the future.
I remember that.
It's kind of a head-scratcher.
It is, especially with him just getting engaged and seeming so happy.
Right. It makes you wonder what his motivations are.
Yeah. Is it genuine ambition? Does he really want to make a difference?
Or is it just another way to expand his brand?
It's hard to say.
It's hard to say, but we can't forget.
What?
This main takeaway from the Relentless Grind article.
Okay.
All this success, the fame, the fortune, the influence, comes at a cost.
It always does.
MrBeast himself admitted that he sometimes feels like a zoo animal.
Wow.
Trapped by his own ambition.
That's sad.
He even said that the average person wouldn't want his life.
Really?
That they would be miserable working all the time.
I guess I never thought about it like that.
And it really kind of humanizes him.
It does.
In a way that we don't often see.
Yeah. He's not just this larger-than-life YouTube star.
Right.
He's a person who's grappling with all the pressures and anxieties that come with that level of success.
And I think that's something we can all relate to some degree.
For sure.
Like, haven't we all felt burnt out at some point?
Yeah.
But imagine that feeling amplified by 1 million.
It must be exhausting.
It must be. And it makes you wonder,
was this level of success even sustainable?
That's a good question.
Can he keep going at this pace without burning out completely?
I don't know.
And I think that's what makes his story so compelling.
How so?
Because we're witnessing the rise of this digital age icon, but we're also seeing the potential pitfalls of fame and fortune and this relentless pursuit of more.
More and more.
Exactly. And as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into the world of MrBeast, I want to leave you with a question to think about.
Okay, I'm listening.
If you could ask MrBeast one question, what would it be?
That is a good question. I have to think about that.
That's a lot to think about, isn't it?
It really is.
This one guy embodies so many contradictions.
Yeah, he does.
The generosity and then these controversies, the business smarts, and then the potential burnout.
It's a strange mix.
It really is. So if you could ask MrBeast one question, what would it be?
Oh, that's a tough one.
I know. It's kind of hard to pick just one.
I think for me...
Yeah. I want to know what he sees as his biggest regret.
Oh, interesting.
He's achieved so much so young.
Yeah.
But there have obviously been some bumps along the way.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to know what he wishes he'd done differently,
Right, knowing what he knows now.
Exactly.
That's a really good question.
What about you?
I think I'd be curious about his vision for the future.
Oh, okay.
Like, what's next for MrBeast?
Yeah, where does he go from here?
Is it more YouTube, more business ventures, or something completely unexpected?
He always seems to be one step ahead.
He does.
I think
it's hard to predict what someone like that will do next.
Yeah, he's constantly innovating, pushing boundaries, defying expectations.
Totally. But one thing's for sure.
What's that?
He's not content with just maintaining the status quo.
No, he's always going to be moving.
He's always looking for the next big thing, the next challenge to conquer.
It's kind of inspiring.
It is, but that relentless drive, that ambition, it's also a little concerning.
Right. We've seen how that pressure can take its toll.
Even on someone as successful as him.
For sure.
And that brings us back to the central theme of this whole deep dive, I think.
What's that?
The paradox of MrBeast.
The paradox.
Yeah. On the one hand, he's achieved incredible success.
Yeah, yeah.
He's built an empire. He's inspired millions with his generosity. But he's also faced some serious controversies.
Yeah.
He's made mistakes. He's admitted to struggling with the weight of his own ambition.
Right.
And I think it's a reminder that behind the viral videos, behind the clickbait headlines, behind the carefully curated online personas, there are real people.
They're human.
With real complexities and real challenges.
We sometimes forget that.
We do, and I think that's an important lesson for all of us.
What do you mean?
In a world that often glorifies success.
Right.
And overlooks the human cost of achieving it.
It's all about the hustle.
Yeah. It's essential to remember that no one's perfect.
That's true.
Everyone makes mistakes.
Everyone.
And even those who seem to have it all, they still face their own battles.
We're all fighting our own battles.
We are. It's about finding that balance.
Balance.
Yeah, between striving for greatness and taking care of your well-being.
Right.
Between chasing your dreams and staying true to your values.
That's a good way to put it.
And that's a journey that we're all on.
It is.
Whether we're YouTube superstars or aspiring entrepreneurs or just trying to navigate the complexities of everyday life.
It's all the journey.
It really is. So as you go about your day, think about the choices you make.
Okay.
The challenges you face, the trade-offs you're willing to make in pursuit of your goals.
Okay.
Remember that success isn't just about reaching the destination.
It's about the journey.
It's about the journey and who you become along the way.
I like that.
And don't be afraid to ask tough questions.
Yeah.
Challenge assumptions. Dig deeper to uncover the real story behind the headline.
Always be curious.
Well said. That's a wrap on our deep dive into the world of MrBeast.
It was a good one.
We hope you learned something new, gained some valuable insights, and maybe even been inspired to reflect on your own journey.
For sure.
Thanks for joining us, and keep those questions coming.
Until next time.
Until next time.